Hi everyone, it's Paula here. I'm the organizer of the Fun and Fearless event in Helsinki this year, and I have someone very special I want to introduce you today. She's one of our Fun and Fearless speaker, Tune Sillah. Welcome, Tune.
Thank you so much.
And Tune is our addition from the business side. She's like a really experienced person in business and leadership, and she's also the CEO and co-founder of Independent Step, which is an online program for women who want to start their own business or develop their own business and succeed in life in that way. And why don't I ask you, Tone, to tell a little bit more about yourself before Independent Step, and then a little bit about Independent Step as well.
Yeah, I always had a huge interest in business. I was only 14 years old when I started as a saleswoman with clothes, cosmetics, and shoes. And I did that for 10 years at the same time as I studied. And I have the experience from leading projects and coaching leaders, both in Norway and Sweden, being a business consultant. And I started my first own company when I was 24.
Yeah.
So I had some different companies, but they were only with me. So Independent Step is the first company that I have with staff.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So you're growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is it so far? What are you doing with Independent Step so far?
Yeah, so far right now I'm mostly in the studio and making the videos, the coaching, teaching videos for how to start your own business. But at the same time, we are building the whole company and doing marketing, building the community, and meeting a lot of very exciting people.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
When you say that you're filming, just want to elaborate that a little bit, because that so that people have an idea what is it that you're filming, so that you have actually different language versions, so that people from different countries can get the help and get the advice that you are sharing about how to start up your own company. But do you because it's for different like regulatory rules and laws in different countries, how do you take that into consideration at all?
Yeah, we do. As you say, there are so many different languages. We are starting with, is it 14 different languages? And we want to have approximately 200 when we have reached our goal. And it means that even if you're a dyslexic, illiterate, or maybe you're a dropout, or maybe you're not that fond of school or reading and these kind of things, you can easily study this because everything is video based. And when it comes to the formalities, the different laws and rules and regulations in different countries, we are now starting with the these information for 87 countries in our first version of the 12 steps of Independent Step. So even that one is considered. So when you enter into our program and our community, you just have to choose what language you want to study in and then which country you want to start your business.
Wow. Oh, you're gonna tell us more about that at Fun and Fearless, aren't you? It's so exciting. It's awesome stuff that you were doing with that. But today we are here to discuss about the business and leadership, and we had people send us questions beforehand. And if you have any questions during the webinar, be free to ask and just post them to us on the chat box, and I can then ask them to Tone. And if you are related only to Finnish or other languages, I'm sorry, I'm not able to translate those. But if you are from Finland and you want to ask your question in Finnish, do so, and I'll translate it to Tone with my best abilities. But let's dive in, because I have quite a few questions here for you. I had a question coming in about marketing, like what are the best practices to market and how to actually market. But there are no references of what kind of a business this is related. Can you elaborate it a little bit on from the side of like from a big company, a big corporation, or versus a one-woman corporation or firm?
Yeah. Marketing is a lot about networking. Yeah. And anyone who have been working with sales knows a lot about this. So if you want to really reach out to huge groups of people, you need to extend your network, both online, but even physical, by traveling around, meeting people. And that doesn't matter whether you're a one-woman company or if you're a huge corporate company, because the mechanisms is the same. But the huge difference is that huge corporate company, they have a lot of money that they can use on marketing. But as a one-woman company, most likely it will take some time before you have the money that you would wish that you had. Or that is actually needed. So you need to use your personal influence on a much, much higher level. But today, well, it used to be like newspapers and television used to be the main marketing platforms. But nowadays it's more about social medias, and the competition is very tough. So I always recommend my customers to keep in touch with professional marketing people, and especially to get in touch with, for instance, bloggers, because bloggers have such a great impact on the audience and potential customers compared to traditional newspaper in paper form, because that kind of marketing place is getting very limited by the generations. So it's like our parents' generations. I'm 44. So like my parents, they read newspaper on paper, but me, I read it online. So it's a huge difference. So
it is.
Using a lot of money on anything who is paper-based is something that I don't recommend my customers. But if you don't have your own homepage, because that is like number one for everyone, either your own homepage or maybe start with a Facebook page, because that doesn't cost anything. It depends on how quickly you want to develop, how quick you want to get your customers, and what kind of customers you're going for. But everything who is online is much better to invest into than anything who is made out of paper. That is like my general advice. Because if you don't exist online, it means you don't exist. And it doesn't matter if you have this small store in your own home city, or if you want to be a global company like us. As long as you're not online, you don't exist.
And it's actually true for both products companies and the services companies.
Absolutely.
The first thing the advice that I got first was when I started my own business was also to set up the web page, and as long just have the web page and then start to build on from that one. So those were the first things. Even the business cards, I don't use those anymore. Even though they are really handy, but I haven't been using those for ages.
No, it's good if you go to a conference or a congress or an event. It might be very handy to have those physical business cards, but in general, when you meet people, they would rather like to have it electronically. I have electronically made business cards, so I just send a well, it's not called text message, but yeah, a message through my phone. Very, very easy. But I think overall, the main rule is talk to someone who has this as their profession, because it is a jungle. And that will always pay off, even though maybe you have to pay them some money, at least to get some advice how to do it yourself, if that is what you need to do in the beginning.
Yeah, already in the beginning. Yeah, I had somebody to do my web page and build my brand look and everything, because those are not my areas of expertise. And so it was definitely worth the money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is.
And then it's like you thinking also about when you're marketing that, what are the steps, how many steps do you want to have before you get the customer and before the customer is paying you. So if you go to newspapers or there, it's a much longer process to get the customer to you physically and to have it as a paying customer.
It is. And also when I talk to, if it's restaurants or if it's stores, anyone who sells items, or food is like an item as well, because you can order it to your home. I always say, try to do sale online as well, not only your physical store, because the danger about that is you will stand in that store physically. And you are dependent on people coming into your store, and they might not come. So you might stand there alone for days and for weeks before your first customer comes in. But if you are an online store at the same time, then the likability with the right marketing that people are getting into your store, even if it's in your online store, is much greater than if you have this physical store, because the coming generations, they shop online. They don't go that much physical into stores.
Okay, good advice. Thank you. Do you want to go more? Do you have anything more, or shall I ask the next question?
I think we can go for the next question.
All right. The next question is about this is a good one. Well, related to the marketing, how to get the customers. How do you get customers?
We are coming back to the networking part again. Because first of all, if you see the need of your product or your service, you can be sure that there are others who are in need of the same thing. As long as you're solving someone's problem, they will be interested. But it is a tough part in the beginning, because you need to try and reach out to so many people in order to find those few that are interested in exactly what you are doing. So you need to be tough and very persistent. Not giving up, because it takes time. It's not something that is done overnight. But you should look at it as an exciting journey, because every person you talk to, or every person you email to, or you do a campaign, that person is your potential next customer. And when you start finding the right customers, they will start the jungle telegraph. So they will start connecting people to you. And this is what I learned as a 14-year-old, because as I said already then, I was very, very interested in how does all these mechanisms work. And I very quickly became a very good salesperson, and I were trying to find out why. What is the mechanism? And what I learned very quickly was, if I made one customer happy, I knew maybe 5 or 10 new customers came through that one person. The whole secret that is so easy You just need to see the person that you have in front of you, and you need to make that person the most important person in the room. That is the very, very easy strategy. As long as you manage to do that, because this is simple psychology. Every single human being wants to be seen and appreciated.
Yeah.
If you can do that to your customers and you put them in the focus and not yourself, that is when more customers will start coming in, because everybody wants that kind of attention.
Yeah.
So the product or the service that you're selling is actually secondary.
Yeah.
What you do, how you see your customers, that is number one.
Oh, that's so good, because when we talk about the human needs, one of the basic needs is to feel significant.
Yeah.
And feel the connection between people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wow, that's go ahead.
It's very easy to overlook that part, because when you're starting a business, it doesn't matter if it's small or huge. When you're starting, of course, you need income.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to get desperate. And in the minute you start getting desperate, you start looking at yourself and your own needs instead of looking at the customer. Yeah. So the key here is to keep your head cold and keep the calmness within yourself, trusting that what you have is so great that there will be a lot of people who wants to buy it, no matter how much time it takes. But on that way, you need to keep the customer in the focus all the time. And I do remember this rule that I got as a 14-year-old. They said to me, Tuna, the customer is always right. And I was thinking, but they are not. But they said, and then they said to me, yeah, but if you want to succeed, they are always right, even when they are wrong. And this is something that I took during my whole career. This is like in my backbone. Yeah. And this is also what I know have been giving me success in sale and the marketing strategies I've been a part of developing, the projects and the concepts and everything, because the customer is always right.
Yeah. And in a way that when you are there, when you say that keep your head cold and yourself calm, it's like we all face those situations where it feels like, oh, this is not working, and frustrated. But those are usually the moments when you just have to go on and continue doing what you're doing. Yeah. Because it's always, as they say, it's always darkest before the sunrise. So those are the moments when your own doubt gets in. And if you give in to your own doubt, then you probably give up just before the moment that it actually starts to work.
Yeah. And you know, your customers are always your best teachers.
Yeah.
Because they will always respond to you in what you're doing. So if you learn to shift your perspective and try to see everything from the customer's point of view and how they need things to be presented to them in order for them to understand what you want, then that is the time you start really shaping your way of doing your business. So they are such good teachers. Look at their reactions. If they react negatively, you can be sure you did something wrong on the way. At one point of a time, you said the wrong word or whatever. So when customers of mine have been unsatisfied, I always ask them, what could I have done different? What is it that you don't like? Instead of feeling intimidated and, sad, because that is very easy. Yeah. So I asked them, how do you want me to do it? Why? What was the reason that you didn't buy this message or product or whatever it was? And they taught me. So if you're ready to be humble and really eager to learn, that is a very good way of thinking.
Yeah, I'm just thinking as I came to the business or came to be an entrepreneur from a viewpoint that I was way too timid as a person in general, and scared of basically everything, and more of the pleasing kind of person who navigated in the world according to what everybody else was saying, instead of thinking and like how it felt for me and what do I think myself. It was very scary to go actually and present to people what do I have. I remember at my early stages when I talked to a couple of Finnish NHL players, hockey players, and presented my work for them. And there is exactly that moment. I said this one word wrong, or one sentence where I said something like something about working hard, and that hit hard for one of the guys. And obviously he got the idea that I was saying that ice hockey is not work. What I was meaning is that it's really hard work, just as any other kind of physical hard work as well. And I knew at that moment, but then I didn't have the courage to actually ask, like, so what did I get wrong? What went wrong? What was the point? And I just, I took my stuff and got out, and that's it. Tried to forget about it. It took a little while before going in back in again. But that was one thing to actually remember when you are presenting yourself, that if somebody says no, it's not about you personally. It's just about at that moment. It's a no at that moment. And when you go to it with the curiosity, like what's in it? Why did it happen this way? What else could I have done? Then it starts to become more fun, and you are much freer to try other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. That was just that was just a memory coming back so clearly to me.
Yeah, and it's a great memory, and it's a great history, because if you talk to people who have succeeded, they will also tell you that learning from the customer sometimes even change the situation. So from not wanting to buy, they actually, through having the customer in the center and asking, okay, what is it that you want me to do? Why? What is the reason why you don't like what I present for you? And because at that point of a time, you are putting the focus on the customer's need. And that is also a way of actually turning the situation. And if you are lucky and you know how to see the customer the way the customer needs, they might end up buying what you're trying to sell them at the end anyway. Maybe not the same day, but because they feel valued, they will consider your offer. And this is like a secret that I discovered very fast, because sale is often, traditionally, sale is looked at something very aggressive. And it's like the more you talk, the more you will sell. But it is
the more you push.
Yeah, because people don't want to get pushed. And this is of a great value in this society today, because during just 24 hours, people are, I had a number, but I don't remember it, but it's a huge number of, bombing
messages coming in all the time.
Messages that they want you to buy something. So it's like, I used to make a picture for my customer, and I say, okay, what kind of a company do you want to be? Do you want to be that person who is like, hello, 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 hello? Or do you want to be that person to see, hello, this is me, this is what I have to offer, and then to step back and have the confidence in what you have to offer, and that confidence being so high that you don't need to do this
all the time.
It's very annoying. And if it was one a day, as maybe 50, 60 years ago, it might function, but today it doesn't function.
No, not with the internet world anymore and the digital times. Not anymore. Yeah. So, I had a good question in my mind, but I lost it about the customers. Well, I'll ask it later if it'll come
absolutely.
up. But then there are questions about the customers and marketing, but then also about how to get your staff. Well, let's first ask how to handle the recruitment, what to consider, what are the important things to consider when you are recruiting people and when you are finding the right persons to your organization or to your team?
Yeah, I get this question all the time. It's one of the most frequent questions. It's recruitment, and it's one of the things I'm hired most to do, to help companies to find the right persons.
Yeah.
And I used to tell them very often that the old-fashioned way of recruiting, when you have these typical 50 questions for an interview, and you have this traditional way of recruiting, it functioned in previous times, but it doesn't function today, because the life of people is so different, and there are so many things that are happening all the time, and there are so many things they have to relate to all the time. So these traditional questions, they function in a time whereby hardly anything happened. But in our time, when everything is happening all the time, you need to get to know the person under the layers. To ask a person to say 3 negative sides and 3 positive sides is, for me, is just a waste of time. So my recommendation, first of all, is that is the old-fashioned way. It's going through your network. I don't remember the percentage. I think it's like 70% of all jobs. I think that was the last percentage I saw, is recruited through network. So it means only 30% appears in ads. Yeah. So if you really want to get the right people, or you want to get the right company to work for, the networking part is very, very important. And people often underestimate this part, because whenever you meet new people, or even those people that you already know, make sure that you present what you are in need of, either if you are an applicant or if you're an employer. So make sure that you spread what you're looking for. And then these people will come, most likely.
But then when you are recruiting, actually, you've helped different companies, a lot of companies, to recruit people directly. So what do you, well, I don't know if you can tell us, but please do so. What are the most important things that you are looking for in a person? Because I think that the basic idea, when we're thinking that a company is hiring, we all have the basic idea, like it's like a worldwide phenomenon, that what kind of a person is a good worker. But besides those things, what have the companies been looking for?
Yeah, for the first thing I do is to try and find out what kind of staff they already have. What kind of personalities. Often business owners, they will tell me that we are not that into the competence that is of an importance, but we need you to find the right personality. Because they can always educate people, but to change a personality is very hard. And I
think
like
that's the
that
trend.
way of thinking. Yeah, because you can always go to a course or a school or whatever it is. So that is number one. I talk to the owners and really try and find out, do you have a lot of, I split it into 4 types of people. It's the drivers who are really goal orientated. Then we have the expressives who are very creative and very into new ideas and having that part. Then the aimables, that is very supporting, making sure that everybody is doing fine. And then the analytics, who are more into the details and the quality and everything. So I have these like a help for me. So I try and find out, because often leaders and owners, they want to employ someone like themselves.
Yeah.
Which often becomes a disaster, because then they end up maybe having a company full with expressives or full with analytics, and with all the consequences coming out of that. So that is the first thing I do. And the owners are always in an understanding of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I do is, and you can do all this yourself as well, the next thing I do, when we find these people, either it's through an ad or through people who came and asked for work, or through their network who was recommended, the next thing I do is that I start Google. So I go into their Facebook accounts, I go into their Twitter and Instagram, I'm everywhere to find out how they present themselves.
Yeah.
And just during that process, it's a lot of people who are out of the process. Because if I find something inappropriate or something that shows me a lack of self-confidence, I find out a lot of things. So I always tell people when they are in coaching with me, I always tell them, you have to know what you're putting into social medias. Because people like me, we are there like sharks when it comes to how you present yourself in social medias.
Yeah.
So already there, the number of people become less. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing I do is that I try as far as possible to call references in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah. To see what kind of persons are these people. And then I will arrange the meeting as more like a meeting, not that much of an interview, because when you manage to make people relax, they will show you who they are. But in an interview, anyone can make an act. But if you manage to make people relax and it's more like a conversation, they will tell you much more of what you actually need to know than through a typical interview.
Yeah, and so often you get so much in between the lines as well.
Yes, so it's much more about what is in between the lines.
Yeah.
And if you use these 50 typical interview questions, they could have rehearsed the answer in advance.
Yeah.
So it's much better to ask total different questions, and questions that are very related to the kind of work they're going to do and how they're going to fit into the team.
Yeah.
And then what I recommend people to do is to like making a plus list, and then
the minus list.
Maybe not the minus list, but more what can be a challenge with this person. What do you need to prepare yourself of might becoming a challenge? Because no one of us is perfect. So there is always something to write on the both sides. But the more you are prepared of things might becoming a challenge, the smaller you can make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can solve most things through dialogue.
Yeah.
So start having meetings with people instead of interviews. That is my #1 advice.
And how do you said that like people like you spot the things mostly on network or like on Facebook or Twitter, or if you go to social media, that you notice stuff from people. What are I just wrote a question down so that I now remember this one. That how do you spot this week, for example, the weak self-confidence, or what are the red lights that you could tell us about? What shows you that what is the red light for you that you are careful with that person now, or want to know something specific from that person?
Yeah,
that you look for.
Yeah, women in particular, is in the high risk group, unfortunately.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, because very often they will expose themselves with posing in front of a camera. If you look into this, for me, typical person with bad self-confidence, I will find endless numbers of selfies with more or less clothes on, and typical pose. And when I see that, because people are paying me to find them the right persons, so I cannot recommend someone that I see present themselves in a way that can offend the company's customers.
Yeah.
Because they are selling products or they are selling services. They are not selling bodies.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually needed to talk more to women about how people actually see them, people like me, how they see them when they go into their social medias and they are exposing themselves. So when I find people who are exposing messages, statements, values, that makes me very interested, because that shows out reflection. Posing shows out lack of attention. And I know lack of attention will create a lot of trouble for the company, because that kind of attention, there is nobody in the business world who have time for that kind of attention. So that is but it happens with men as well, because this is a common problem, but it's more when it comes to women than it is to men. So I think we have a huge job to do, working on women's self-confidence, and for them to know how to present themselves in a more positive way.
And in not a way that we unfortunately have seen, that we use our feminine sides in a kind of, I don't know, ugly way to get what we want. So, but those are good signs. Thank you. I hope people who are listening will get good tips from those ones, like really good ones. Thank you for those.
Start going through your Facebook profile and your Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and
see how do you actually how do you present yourself? What kind of the image are you sending out about yourself? And it's also very easy to find out if there is some extremist point of views, like racism, nazism, whatever it is. So I think being an assistant when it comes to recruitment today is so much easier than what it used to be, because we can find out so much in advance that was not possible like 30 years ago. So I think it has become actually a pretty easy job. Well, maybe I'll hire you someday to hire me some new people, because that's what I'm learning now with my own business. Like it's I think the hardest job for me to the recruitment, to find the right people and to get it, because you said that people usually want to hire people that are the same as they are themselves, and they were my first mistakes. And but now I'm happy with my team members now.
Yeah.
And so learning, but it's a learning process. It's a learning process. Oh, next question. We talked about the recruitment, but then there is this question that I first was going to ask: how to get your staff to do what you want them to do. And this was meaning there was an explanation there that the idea was that you get the people to pull towards the same goal, so that when you have a lot of different individuals in your organization and you have the goals, but then because we all are individuals, then we see them a little bit differently. So some may be pulling to that direction and some may be pulling to that direction, so that we get everybody to pull towards and to go towards the same goals. Do you have any advice for those kind of situations?
Oh, yes, I have. I'm having a dream team myself where everybody is pulling in the same direction, which is fantastic. Yeah, we are actually back to the seller-customer situation.
Yeah.
The leaders I have been seeing succeeding the most are the leaders who knows how to see their staff members as individuals, and who can see what is the specialties, what is the uniqueness about this staff member and this one, and then make sure that they really complement it and do whatever it takes to make that part grow. Because that is why you hire them. That was that uniqueness, what was special about them. But as a leader, you need to really give attention to it and attention to your staff. And I think any leader who wants to be the shining star is in the wrong job. Yeah, because being a shining star, it's better to be a pop star or a dancer or whatever it is. But as a leader, you want your staff to shine, not yourself. You are like the coach, and they are like the talents that you want to get the best out of. So that is number one. And number two is include them. Make sure that they feel that they own the process together with you. So that you all agree upon those common goals that you're working towards.
Yeah.
That is like the two absolute necessities in order to succeed with your staff.
Yeah.
And if you forget that, if you let one staff member go home unhappy or frustrated, or you let a conflict develop and grow, you can forget about that success. Because I know this is like the typical thing to say, but your chain is never stronger than your weakest link.
Yeah.
So if you have one unsatisfied member in your staff, or who is pulling in the opposite direction, you need to capture that very fast. Yeah. And if you see that that person will still continue pulling in another direction, you need to remove that person. So that is like, being a leader is mostly about how to coach a team all the time and make sure that they own the process, love the goal, love what you are doing, and then go all in, because there will be so many tough days. The success days, well, at least the days where you're feeling that you're having the success, will be less than the really tough days. And if you're not strong as a team, then it will be so, so hard. And the more different kind of team members you have, the more you will complete each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more alike you are, the more you will frustrate each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that was answer to your question.
Yes, those were really good tips. Just came into my mind because if I think about my own background, which is like really the codependence kind and wanting to please everybody, how do you, and imagining, to be in a situation where I would have to, luckily I'm now buying their services in my team members. I don't have any workers, which is one good way, for example, for singlepreneurs, that people with one person company, to actually buy that service so that you hire the people to your team in that way. I'm doing it that way. But so then it's easy to, if it doesn't work, I'll just stop buying. But imagining that I would actually hire and have hired employees, how do you know when is the time to let go of that person? When, what are the, just, I know there are this, you think of it in a financial points and you think of it in a very big, but what are the worst case scenarios that you've seen when it has gone too far, or when something has been done too hastily?
Oh my goodness, I have seen a lot of worst case scenarios. How am I going to answer that question in a general way? First of all, as women, we actually have a huge advantage that a lot of women does not consider. And that is that we are made of feelings.
Yeah.
And through feelings, used in the right way in business, you will feel things being wrong much earlier than what traditional men will do.
Yeah.
So when you feel that something is wrong, that is in the moment you need to start finding out what is it that does not function. So as women, huge advantage. Yeah. And another advantage we have for those women who have siblings or children themselves is also that you know a lot about group dynamic already.
Yeah.
And you're used to handling it every single day from, as I said, being a sibling or having children yourself. And business is exactly the same. There is no difference. The difference is that it's about money. And the other part is about family.
Yeah.
So I think that is like the main advice that I'm giving, is that I will talk more about this in the Fun and Fearless. Because this is a typical women part that we actually can strengthen so much.
Yeah,
but
good.
I think that number one advice is that you can never let things go as far in business as you can in family and in friendship.
Yeah.
Because during that time, you are losing money and time, which is the most significant in business. But in family and friendship, you can give people a second chance, a third chance, a 10th chance, a 20th chance. But still, it will not affect anything else but your energy. But in business, I used to say one wrong person can actually run your business over.
Yeah.
And when I say that to people, they are like, what?
Yeah, that's like, oh.
Yeah, actually, that is, I have seen that so many times. And I think the main trouble is not that people don't see that something is wrong or they don't feel it. The main trouble is that they are scared of conflicts. So they are avoiding and avoiding. You said yourself, being a pleaser, there is a lot of pleasers around, and pleasers, they don't want to go into a conflict. And me personally, I have been advising a lot of leaders in leadership when it comes to conflicts, how to solve conflict and how to stop them before they, explode. So I'm not scared of conflicts, but it doesn't mean that I like it. And I think here is a misinterpretation among a lot of business owners, that they think that in order to solve conflicts, they have to like them. But you don't, because person
nobody
with common
really
sense likes conflict. But as a leader or an owner, you cannot be scared of them either, because then they will grow out of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I think here is the main trouble. You need to go within yourself and work with yourself. And I often recommend leaders to have their own coaches to work with this side of themselves. And then I can give a lot of practical advice. Okay, you have this situation, what you can do is this and that and this and that. But then the next time the same situation or a similar situation appears, and if they still have that personal issue with themselves, that they are scared of conflicts, it doesn't matter how many tools I give them.
Yeah, because they don't use them.
Back out of it. And once they are backing out of it, it grows. So
just came in, because that's what I had to learn hard way, that it's like the conflicts that are, they mostly are scary situations in your mind, but when you face them fearlessly, there is actually nothing to face. And you just go, I just did today in the morning, it's Sunday, and in the morning I had to face a situation that I was fearing a lot, speaking to one person and telling unpleasant news. And I congratulated myself afterwards how I've learned, but it has been a process to go through those phases and learn that you just go and you say it and you keep breathing and you live through it. But it is for especially for women who are more sensitive and more caring and loving and thinking that the successful person needs to be hard and pushy and like not care at all. And when we don't want to be that kind of person, it feels impossible. The success feels impossible before you learn that you can get the same results in your own way without coming and without being that hard or pushy person.
This is going to be one of my main topics. One of my main topics at Fun and Fearless, to talk about exactly this, to give out tools. How do you actually lead your life and your business without, feeling that you have to go totally out of your skin? Because there are a lot of ways.
And that is the reason that I wanted you to be there, one of the speakers, and it's so great to have you there. We would still have a whole lot of questions about what are the elements of good leadership today, and how to be a good leader, and how do you build a strong and efficient team, and actually how to handle conflicts. But we answered that one pretty well as well. So, but
you have to come to Fun and Fearless, because now we have only 6 minutes left from this webinar. So
we can cover all here.
Answer to the questions.
And Tone is going to be there. She's going to be the expert on the business and how to build your business in a way that you don't have to bend yourself over. And I'll be there giving you advice on more on the mental side. Like Tone said, that you have to go within and work with yourself. We do that work there as well. There's going to be one of the world's best loved coaches and speakers, Judy May Murphy, doing your inner work with you as well. And then there's going to be Diane Burrows, straight from Hollywood, telling you about how it is a process when, if you face like those disappointments that we all face during life, that how do you actually rebuild yourself, and how it is actually a process and not just like a thing like, okay, now I'm over it, it's done, and I'm, you know, this is my new life and this is now how I'm working, but how it's actually a process. And we have a special offer for the people who came here today and are listening to the recording also, that we're going to offer you 30 euros off from the tickets, the early bird tickets to Fun and Fearless. And Fun and Fearless is an event for women only, and for women especially who feel that they are more caring, they are more loving, they are more shy or codependent persons, more the ones who want to please others and navigate more in the world by what others think, rather than going into themselves and realizing what they think and what they want. Because I've been there, I've done that, and that was not like, it didn't feel like life. It was a struggle from one fight to another, an endless struggle, and that's not life. And it doesn't have to be that way, and it can be in another way. And this is why we are organizing this day, and this is why we have all these great women coming there and talk to you and giving you their best advice, so that you get to shine and thrive on your own life in your own terms. So this is the one that we want to offer you. The offer is valid for the next 24 hours, a little bit more than 24 hours, until midnight tomorrow. So go take ahead and go use the offer, and let's see, and let's make this world a better place. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Tone?
Yeah, you know, we can't wait to see you in Helsinki.
Yeah.
If you want to have a boost and really feel that someone was helping, lifting you in your direction of doing what you actually want to do, you need to come and see us. So we are ready for you. So just make yourself ready for us. And it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it's we're gonna have the whole day fun. I'm sure we're gonna have some tears, we're gonna have some good laughs, and we're gonna have, it's called life, and we're gonna go through all that. And just promise me something. Quit and give up on those excuses that I can't do it. This is, I know success is for everybody else, but it's not for me. I believe that it's possible for others, but not for me. Let's just let go of all those and get your ticket and come to the room and enjoy and amaze yourself and surprise yourself, because you can do it. If we can do it, you can do it, and you absolutely can thrive on your own terms. We really hope to see you in Fun and Fearless on November 18th in Helsinki.
Absolutely. And do remember exactly what Paula said. If we can do it, you can do it.
Yes.
And there is no difference between you and us. We are all women with our experiences and our fears and our worries, but we can all do it.
Yeah. The name is Fun and Fearless because not to imply that we need to be fearless. We are not fearless, but what is common with us ladies is that we realize that what we are afraid of, and then we do it anyway. Not put ourselves in physical danger and in danger that way, but when we realize that it's the thought in our mind, it's the doubt that makes us afraid of something, that we can still do it. We don't have to do it at once, but we have to do and take those small steps so that we get to grow as a person and we get to live the life that we actually want to live. And we really much hope to see you there. We are up to the time that we promised that we take today, and let's talk later again. This was fun. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. See you in Helsinki.
See you in Helsinki. Goodbye.
Goodbye.